heads of various institutions.
Good.
And, as government employees, if your superior says...
It went beyond. It even went to parastatals.
Yeah, that's why I used
without question.
That's why I use the public service.
So what I'm trying to say is, if there is no basis, there is no literature, there is no reference,
that's correct.
Why did people execute without questioning?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you did, there were consequences. You hadn't lost your job. That is a lighter one.
And there was no option of resigning to work somewhere else.
If you have a career of 25 years, you resign, you may lose all your benefits.
Okay.
And who knows, when will you pick another job? In the meantime, you have bills to pay.
Good. Fair enough. Thank you on that. You do not have the answer, but you believe the consequences were a net loss for the personnel.
For the yes, okay. Both in terms of the security and financial security and physical security.
Okay. Was there any presidential scholarship scheme, as far as you know? The award of scholarships by the president to individuals. Was there a scheme? Was there any formal?
Yeah, I understand. That's why I was just trying to, because when you say the scheme, maybe it's a formal and established system.
Yes.
I don't think so. What I saw whilst I was in the office is that people would apply to him for sponsorship and he would approve or disapprove.
So as far as PMO is concerned, or the general orders,
yes, please.
This was outside.
Oh yes, it was outside. It was outside.
It was outside.
Yes, the scholarships that were administered at the office of the president did not have anything to do with PMO. Okay. They didn't have any, they were not consulted in any way.
Do you understand the concept of strong public institutions as a personnel officer?
I do.
Was it part of the objectives of this PMO
yes.
to embed that in our civil service?
Yes, they did.
What did you do to achieve that?
No, see, we have what we call a civil service reform project, financed by, I think, by the World Bank, implemented by the PMO. It was meant to build institutions. The reform succeeded in building some institutions, like creating the GRA and...
the bedrock is not the reform. What's the bedrock of strong public institutions?
Yes, strong public institutions, the bedrock of strong public institutions is to reform and have strong institutions based on rules and regulations.
And personnel who implemented it.
Yes, that's correct.
Did you build that capacity to have personnel who implemented the reforms and acted according to the general orders?
Are you asking me when I was at the PMO?
As an institution, not you. I said the PMO, but you spent most of your career there.
Yes, the PMO has done all that they could in terms of staff development. But you see, when they develop these staff, they put them in place, the next moment they are dismissed. They didn't have a choice over that.
No. If I understand you correctly, earlier, you said the fear of the job loss was at the top level. The executives were not sent to people below a certain level. I don't think the
executive directives?
Yes.
Oh, they span across.
It was across?
Across the board.
Every civil servant?
Even messengers were dismissed.
Got an executive?
Through an executive director, yes. Oh, yes.
Is that what the record shows?
Oh, yes. Where?
There was a protocol or an order system to issuance of the directives.
Yes.
So when you say everybody was subject to it, from what we have seen, it was at the top. Do you have records of that? No, for example, an oddly getting an executive directive?
No, the directives are not issued to the individuals at that level. They will be sent to the PSPMO to say that so and so should be fired. Okay. And that one, it cuts across the entire gamut of the civil service, the public service.
Okay. We had an example of an oddly calling somebody in the central bank, saying he was directed by someone to receive money on behalf of the office of the president.
Yes.
So maybe that substantiates what you're saying about the executive directive. But in terms of formality, when an executive directive is being issued, how is it done?
It is issued by the president and it is forwarded to the PSPMO. No, it depends on the subject. It depends on the subject matter. If it is personnel related, it is issued by him. It depends on the subject matter. If it is personally related, it is sent to the PMO. Yes.
Given that our mandate is financial,
Yes.
can you just run us through an executive directive affecting financial matters? For example, with the end result of getting money from the central bank.
Yes,
Start from the top and where it ends.
Yeah, these are the instructions that he issues in the files. So these are directives. Pay so and so. These are executive directives. And when he says pay so and so,
who does it go to?
It goes to the Secretary General and it cascades down to the officer concerned.
Okay. I think there's an issue of comprehension, either on my side or on your side.
Okay.
We've read letters that said, I am directed to request for your permission to open an account at the central bank. Yeah? This is coming from the Secretary General to the PS of Finance. Who was directed and who's giving a permission?
The permission was given by the President because before you open an account, he has to approve it.
Sorry?
Before an account is opened by the office of the President has to approve it. The former President has to approve it.
This letter says,
Yes, please.
the Secretary General has been directed, meaning the President directed him to seek approval from the PS of Finance to open an account at the central bank. So I'm asking you, who was the directive aimed for? Is this something that the whole civil service system should execute, or wasn't the directive simply aimed at the Secretary General, who is supposed to then request for permission from the PS of Finance, who had nothing to do with the directives, and in his capacity as a technocrat and as a professional, could read into his reference material and say, yes, approve, or sorry, no, I can't approve. Is that a wrong view?
I don't know the source that you are reading from, but as far as I know,
do you have an exhibit that demonstrates that letter? Can you show him one of those?
Yes, let me see the letter.
We have one exhibit, for example, a letter from the OP addressed to the PS Finance, requesting for the opening of a special US dollar account.
Yes.
As far as we are concerned, the directive was for the Secretary General to seek approval.
Yes.
The PS Finance reading that letter as a directive to him to give permission, right or wrong, that is questionable. But given the context, and you work there, I haven't worked there, can you shed light whether the directive covered the Finance Ministry to issue an approval, whether it was right or wrong?
See, I do not think this should be a complex matter or issue.
Sorry?
I'm saying that I do not think it should be a complex matter or issue. Because, simply put, if an account is to be opened by the office of the President would dictate, so, please open so and so account. Sometimes he even dictate the name of the account.
Yes.
And then a request would be sent to the Minister of Finance to say, the directive has been issued to open so and so account. We seek your endorsement because.
No, he didn't say endorsement. He said we seek for your approval.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you the procedure. Endorsement and approval, perhaps they are all the same. Because if there is no approval from the Minister of Finance, the banks would not open the account.
Why are they seeking approval from the Minister of Finance if they believe they can go straight without their approval?
No, they cannot go straight to the bank, because it's a requirement by the bank that before they open an account, there has to be a supporting letter from the Minister of Finance. That's the procedure.
So the Minister of Finance gives the approval for the account to be opened.
Yes.
So meaning if you get a letter straight from the SG to the bank, it will be rejected.
Yes.
So
it's exactly. Most likely to be rejected. Yes.
All right. So that directive to seek approval stopped at the SG. The PS Finance is under no directive to give approval.
No, the President would say that the account should be opened. That's a directive.
Yeah, with regards to name and signatory.
No. To open the account, to operationalize it. To operationalize it, the president will give direction that it will operationalize. And then the way it is operationalized may affect different institutions. In this case, it has to be the Minister of Finance.
Okay. By extension, is the commercial bank also on the directive to open that account?
No.
There you go.
No. But see, these are directives. The directives are issued to public institutions. As far as I know, to public institutions, not to the commercial, not to the private sector. To the public institutions.
Okay.
I don't think.
Let me go back to the question.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, in your opinion, who understands the issue of these directives and under what context the president is able to issue it justifiably?
See, Honorable Commissioner, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic. We were operating under a system which was not normal.
We understand that.
Yes. So you couldn't question certain things.
We understand that.
If you did, there were consequences. So the issue of issuing directives were clearly the prerogative of the president. He did it on his own.
Okay. So it came
from him.
From him.
Yes.
It was discretionary.
It's discretionary.
There is no constitutional basis for it.
I wouldn't say so because the constitution is wide. Perhaps that we can refer that
every
to the
president knows what he can do and what he cannot do.
Yes.
So maybe the issue of directives up to him.
Yes.
But there is a constitutional guideline on the context.
But
I'm saying from the PMO experience.
Yeah, I can simply say, sorry to cut you short, I can simply say that most of the directives were not constitutional. I can say that, yes. Because if you want to dismiss somebody, there are steps that you have to follow. The Public Service Commission regulations are there, which stipulates all the steps that you should follow to dismiss somebody or to reprimand the person. But whatever sanction there is that you want to do, it has to be based on the Public Service Commission regulations, which are very clear. If you don't do that, then it means that you are not following the Constitution. Because the Public Service Commission regulations are part of the Public Service Act.
Thanks.
So if you don't do it, yes.
Okay. So far, you've done your best.
Yes.
One last question.
Yes, please.
Given the amount of time
yes,
spent on financial activities,
yes, please.
Do you believe as a team, SG, Secretary to Cabinet,
yes.
you had time to govern? Wasn't your principal activity financial as opposed to governing the country?
No, our principal activity, like in my own case, as Secretary to Cabinet, my principal activity...
during the 4 years you were there.
Yeah. My principal activity was not financial related.
You were signing a lot of documents. It was almost daily, every 2 days,
yes,
every week,
yes.
every month.
No, of course, yes, it was.
So it's a very objective question.
Yeah.
In your professional opinion, did you have time to govern, or was it mostly on financial issues?
No, we had time to do other things, but we had to struggle. We had to struggle, yes, because I would close work very late, maybe sometimes as late as 10 p.m., 11 p.m., even 12 p.m., 12 a.m., sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, just one question, I hope. Now, you said in your testimony that non-compliance with presidential directives would have, quote unquote, great consequences.
Yes.
Now, which consequences did you envisage for non-compliance with presidential directives?
One, I think the softwares would be dismissed from work. That would be the most lenient punishment. And then the gravest punishment would be that you could be, locked up. There is no doubt about that.
You will be imprisoned, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Those are the two consequences you envisage.
You could even disappear.
Even?
Or even disappear.
I'm listening to you.
Go ahead.
Yes, yes.
You are giving the evidence.
No, that's what I'm saying.
1, dismissal. 2, imprisonment. 3, disappear.
Could even disappear. could even disappear.
or possible disappearance.
Yes.
Is that all?
That the difference is the gravest. I don't think there can be anything more than that, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. My predecessor said it in this.
Sorry, you want to, you are free to say what you want
I'm
to say.
saying that my predecessor said it, so I think two of them said it, that,
I didn't- I'm not hearing you, sorry.
okay. No, I'm saying that the former president really, exercised power with aggression. He was aggressive, he was unpredictable, he was mean, he was bullish, all those adjectives. So really, it was tough.
Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I want to make one appeal. I want to make one appeal, perhaps to Ma. I just want the press to exercise some caution in the reporting. I don't know whether that is within your mandate, because my testimony yesterday, I listened to it today in the press review. But what I had being read from a newspaper is not exactly what I said yesterday. Because I heard that, I tendered a letter from the Office of the President to Euro-African Group Limited. But I had the reverse today, that it was a letter from Mohamed Bazi to the former president.
Well, we want accurate reporting,
Yes, please.
no matter who is concerned. What I would advise you is to make a statement to the Secretariat
Okay, sir.
and give the source, the name, everything,
Okay, sir.
and the proper action will be taken.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I'll try that, even though I heard it from the radio.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's,
I just wanted to ask one question.
Very well.
There are quite a number of appointments. One is EPAM, of CEOs EPAM, emanating from the Office of the President.
That is correct.
And the receiver of the Kanilai Family Farms Company, Kanilai Group International Company,
Yes, please.
also said that there were appointments made from the Office of the President.
That is correct.
Now, it seemed, therefore, that all these companies under the, for want of a better word, under the aegis or jurisdiction of the President were being run from his office. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm aware that the managing director of APAM was appointed from the Office of the President. The Kanilai Family Farms too, the managing director was appointed and fired from the Office of the President. And the Daily Observer too, the managing directors were hired and fired from the Office of the President. So maybe that is correct. Considering these three institutions, perhaps that was the trend.
The Daily Observer, they were being supervised also. To whom did they report in the Office of the President?
The Office of the President?
Yes.
At one point, the PS at the office was also doubling as the managing director of the Daily Observer. I think that was the reporting line.
Okay. Which PS was this?
Fatou Kinde Diop, yes, Fatou Kinde Diop.
It was doubling as managing director of Daily
yes,
Observer.
of Daily Observer, yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've done overtime. We'll rise now until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.